Today, Rinpoche gave a very clear explanation as to why dependent origination is the essence of all of Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings.
That ended the Bangula Tanda Roots in Mara. Pagin Shukuni, but then Golundu, Niva. The Chebala said. The Chebala
Nipa. Ganshi.
Why then that tended to be done that my Chebala Sajani Digua. The Chebala Ni. To be on Bola, tended some begin Tuba. Tombi Jusen da Goa, Sajini Redua. To be on Bola, tended some begin Tuba Che. Tombi Jusen da Goa, Sajini Bache. That tombo to be on Bola, tended some begin Tuba de la Chuje Jugun do Dembata Jebasheba, Sajini Digua. Chuje Jugun do Demba, Jebashebas. Sajini je that Abbot Chuje Jugundo Temple or Ganshi Station Suma Chendo Domalana me Java Tension Japanization to Matalandus, water and Chuje Jugundo Tembas, Sanjila Chobajugune, tended to be Tadama Dudujin Sumba Inside.
Okay, so we're looking once again at Lama Tsongkhapa's text in praise of dependent origination, and Junu Jetsun Drapa Shidrup's commentary on it is the commentary that we're using. When we look at the commentary, we turn to where we find the first stanza. It says that the text is divided into two categories. First is the actual praise to the Buddha for teaching dependent origination, and then the reason for this and the dedication. So it says then the first category has two different categories. So the first category among the two is the expression of homage or expression of worship, and then the second category is the expanded explanation or expanded explanation. So we begin first with the expression of worship or expression of homage, and that's presented here in the first stanza. He who speaks on the basis of seeing, this makes him a knower and a teacher unexcelled. I bow to you, O conqueror, you who saw dependent origination and taught it. So this is the expression of worship or expression of homage presented in the beginning of this text. Diksung.
Ta Ganshi Zishi Songwa Chento Tebalana me Java Tenji Tebanjung Zishi Domba Telandu Wati Tuanda Sindi Dua Ganshi Zishi Shesu Shuluka Chigi Tuante Chuji Jugundo Tembate Ganshi Zishi Songwa Shuluka Chidi Tungo Ares Ganshi Zishi Songwa Chento Tebalana me Java Tenji Tebanjung Zishi Domba Telandu Kebe and Chuba Jubugune, tended to be Nadama, Dudujin Sumbares. Kanshi Zishin, Shesu Shuluka Chigi Tuanda Deres, Ti Tuanda, Tendi Kanshi, Jetawa Jin, Monson to Zishins, Rangi Jeta Ziba Jin, Sombigune, Remba Jin, Chembalana Mabatan, Tumbalana Mabajachi, Tedra Jabi, Java Tenji Rabanjuan, Zishin to Batalandu Sheba Des, Kamba Tambanichi, Yuen Tembi Gune, Tu Gonzonatan, Shemanichi, Yuen Tenji, Tumbala Tubos, what did that Senator and water? Kanji is on Tendi Kanji, Shesu Shulukachi, Tendi Kanji, Chetawaji, also to Zishins, Shajaman Budake, and Tendi Chukalo, also to Zero, Tangasu, make it to one. Tenchetawaji, also to Zishins, Shajaman Budakurum, also Zeduare, also to Zero Maze, Rang Ziba Chetawaji, and Duja Jendal Sonores, Zibajin, Sombi Gune, Zembajin, and Shajaman Buda de Chambalana Maba, Tembalana Maba Jagres, Tendig Tungaji, Chetawaji, Rang also to Chamba Yinzang, Ziba Yinzang, Chambalana Mabares, Telelabi Chamba Yomares, Suzuki Chamba Naji, Duja Jendala, Kolotambo Baba Tamala Subigune, Jela Tumba. Tumba Yinzang, Tumbalana Mabares, Chutembi Tumba de Shajaman Budel Laba Yomares.
Then the Yander Suranang, Chukor Tambo, Lantama, the Yander Suranang.
Then Shajaman, Shaja to be what they ne Tenrik Tenchetawaji, also to Zin, the Jen Chusum.
Lesso.
Kolotambo Baba Tamasu.
Okay, Som. Okay,
What is
Two
it?
Chena. 3 turnings.
Yeah.
Then eh?
Tambalana Maba Jajin, Tetra Jabi, Jawa, Tenji Jaban Juatala, Juan, Zishin Tobatala, Kubidu to Choba Jobares, Takamba Tambuni Ji, United Tempe doing Osumares, Kanji Zishi Swayi, Chento Tambalana Me, Lana Me Jebi, Chini Ji, Chuba Josak Yu, Swaji to Osumares, Osumas, and Kamba Ngazune, Shemani Ji, and Jawatanji Jabanju, Zishin Tombatalan du Zadege, Shemani Ji, and Tendi Jetawaji, Mosu the Chembi, Tombatella, Tubaris, Tubang, Chuba Juba, Marva.
Ale. Praising. Shimani, the Dumbalana Mepa, Dembalana Mepa, the Shimani.
Shajamana Buddha,
The Shimani.
Chambalana Meba Inde, Chambalana Meba Inde, Tendi Tunchitawaji to Mosu the Chamber Image, Chamber Yinza, Chambalana Meba, Telelabi Chamber Yumares.
You know, the Shimani, the
Shemani Drot.
Okay, Dumbalana Mepa.
Zishi somebody, Chenda Tambalana Metambo,
Okay.
Chambalana Meba
Tuchena.
Tambores.
Okay, Tuchena.
Jawatanji Java Zishin to Batalan Dusati, Chamber Tatan Dembi, Shajaman Budal Tuba, Chuba Jobares.
Lesso. Okay, so when we're looking at the commentary on the praise of dependent origination, so he who speaks on the basis of seeing, this makes him a knower and a teacher unexcelled. I bow to you, O conqueror, you who saw dependent origination and taught it. So here, he is referring to Buddha Shakyamuni. Buddha Shakyamuni says, speaks on the basis of seeing. Buddha Shakyamuni had a direct, valid cognition of emptiness. He saw the dependent origination of all phenomenon directly. The way that the eye directly perceives a form, Buddha Shakyamuni mentally directly perceived emptiness. So here he had a direct, valid cognition of the nature of reality, of dependent origination. So therefore, it says there are 2 points that are made here. This makes him a knower and a teacher unexcelled. Because he has had a direct, valid cognition of dependent origination, this makes him the highest knower, because dependent origination is the highest thing that one can know. Since Buddha Shakyamuni knows it in the most thorough way, in a direct, valid cognition, this makes him an unexcelled knower, meaning there is no higher knowing that one can achieve. Buddha Shakyamuni has achieved the highest state of knowing that exists. And a teacher unexcelled, because Buddha Shakyamuni teaches from the basis of direct perception, teaches from an experience. He is a teacher unexcelled because he has, from that experience, turned the wheel of Dharma 3 times. The first turning of the wheel of Dharma, the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, and the third turning of the wheel of Dharma were possible because of the direct valid cognition that Buddha Shakyamuni had of dependent origination. So it says this makes him a knower and a teacher unexcelled. So when we look at the commentary, it says just that. It says because of his direct valid cognition of dependent origination, this makes him the highest knower possible. And because this is this information is what he presents, this makes him the highest teacher possible, because no other teacher has given this presentation based on direct valid cognition. And then it goes on to say that because of these 2 things, this is why this praise to Buddha Shakyamuni is being made. Because of he is the highest knower and the highest teacher, this is the reason for this praise to him for his teaching. So that's what the commentary goes on to say. Because of these excellent qualities, these 2 that were just discussed, this makes him worthy of respect and of praise. So this is why this praise is necessary. Okay. Digsung Rinpoche.
다 사지 최저 주군도 tempa 제바 제바 니가 나네 도 tempa 차비지 니바 제바 제바 드레도와 니바 제바 제바 들라 아니 쇼고데 니바게 원네 골마 들어와
Oh, just
최저 주군도 tempa 제바 제바
Lesso.
전두가 송마르베 다 최저 주군도 tempa 차지 가시 제지 송아이 쳇도 도말라나메 자와된지 저반중 제시도 탈란두스야데 최저주군도 템바도 사지 다니바 제바시바드레도와
Ale.
니바 제바시바들라 네 사지 워드니 되거도와 되비고네 주체다 저방고소스 송방고들어 송방고 니바들.
Okay, so just going back to the, I just want to correct the outline if there was a mistake made. So the expression of worship, the expression of homage, is broken down into 2 categories. The expression of truth, which was just presented, and then the expanded expression. So then we've finished the expression of truth, and now we move on to the expanded expression. So the expanded expression begins, and it says that there are 2 categories. First, the reason for praise, and second, the actual praise itself. And then it says the first category has 2. Oh, wait, let me just wait for Rinpoche.
다니바 제바시바들라 되비 주센로 텐데송 보고네 사자만은 보달라 되비 주센 되방고 사진이 돼도와 다 동부 네 담불 사진이 되도와 되비고는 주센데 사자만은 보달라 텐데송 보고는 되비 주센 가르스네 주센라 니요레스 텐데 템바 템비 녀부 템바스 사자만은 보다 텐데송 바데 사자만의 템바 롱기 템바도 투비 템비 녀분다도 워드레도레스 템비 단추 나니도 로도 투비 다니도 전제 셰도 마제도 루바시고 코나오스 사자만은 보다 워데 최마송아 최들라 롱기 최도 투비 슈니마도요 말스 템비 단추 나니데 로도 투비 다니도 롱기 최도 투비 최
The long cabernet.
된저로
Zu.
템비 단추 나니데 로도
Abidjan.
템비 단추도 로도 투비 다니 전제 셰도 마제도 루바시고 코나오스 사자만보다 덤바 사자만보다 손비 최다니 롱기 최도 투비 슈니 요레스 다 롱기 조데 tenbi chenpo tenpa, lungi tenpa,
Bless you.
tubi tenpa,
Denja Shebi the Nimporhe.
tendi tenpa, tenbi chenpo tenpa,
Seldu.
tendi sompo kone, songshabe tenpa te, shajaman buddha tenbi chenpo tenpa.
Bless you.
Tendi jukone tuba, tendi jukone tuba ten khaba os. Ta tendi ju tuba ten khaba jukone ya juris. Ta tombo,
Denja Yugune Dupa Ngapa the Yakshu.
oh,
Okay. Then in the Inji Kelago.
okay.
In Jigger.
Yeah.
Okay, so so the second category has the two categories: the reason for the praise, and then the actual praise. So the first category, the reason for praise, has two categories. First, showing that the teaching on dependent origination is the essence of the teachings, or the pith, or the essence of the teachings, the heart of the teachings. And second category, showing that the teaching on dependent origination is the highest among all the teachings given, or the highest of all teachings given. So all of the Buddha's teachings can be broken down into two categories. In the Abhidharma teachings, we find an pronouncement that states that there is no teaching, there is no presentation of Buddha Shakyamuni that can be found outside of the scope of the scriptural and realizational doctrines. So among the scriptural and realizational doctrines, the scriptural and realizational doctrine of dependent origination is the essence of the Buddha's teaching. So when we separate the Buddha's teachings, it's into scriptural and realizational. So the scriptural and realizational doctrines of dependent origination are the heart or the essence of Buddha's teachings. And then the second category is it shows that these are the highest. The teachings on dependent origination are the highest of all teachings. So that's the second category. But the first shows how it's really the heart of what the Buddha taught. And then the Abhidharma says we don't find anything outside of the scope of scriptural and realizational doctrines that can be considered a presentation of Buddha. Khensur Rinpoche.
Tende sumba tembi jimbo temba tang, tende jukun tuba ngapa saji nyeche, ta tende sheba tembi jimbo temba tende ma yunguduwa, tambo nes, jiten guba jenye ba ti zawa mari te, kanshi tongyu taduba, tenjin reba juwa sung, teselu tang temba yi, tenjin reba jungyu lang, choji tembi nenyin to, cheta kongtu chumin juros, 되게 tenri shajaman buddha tenri sheba de shajaman buddha temi himbo yimba tengu wares himbo yimba kandas tengu sena jiden guba jenye ba ti tawa marites jiden guba jenye ba sta ngaso ngasung sung to tenri sung duwa ri to yo maribe tenal jega nachi dungela suba dungen mambo yo droda jiden guba jenye ba 제가 나치 동행을 줘봐. 저쪽 주가르스나 티자와도 마리바레스 마리바. 추나 대바도 대지 마리비 주셰발라 때네 지된 구바. 제가 나치 동행을 된도 송다 난도 송래 제가 나치 동행을 줘봐. 저수 용고요 아레스 티자와도 마리바레스 티자 마리데 간시 통요 때도 바스 주 간시 추나 대바 마루바도 셰존나 ane wate jiten chega nashi dunga la suwa durnu gres, denzi durnu gres, denzi marbe. Chuna denpa maruwa shivi lo teke denzi nyo tegro. Taba dhruva yinpa shivi lu, taba dhunzi jilo nyo tegro. Ten najin, chuna denpa maruwa shivi lu, denzi nyo ba yin zang, ane denzi drebo, ane chega nashi dunga la suwa wate sul nyo tegres. jiden guba jenye ba ti zawa maride. Kanshi tongyu tadu bas. Chu kanshi chuna daba maruba tongsung na tongyu. 제가 나시 동안라 소바다 티조 마리바 도노 까 투레스 더도바 땡진데바 조아송스 더도비 냐보데 땡진데바 땡디시블로 땡고레스 땡진데바 조아송 더술로다 땡바이 땡진데바 조유 랑최지 땡비 내년도 제다 공도 주변주로 디체 셔로다 덴바 루드다 덴바 시나네 샤자만의 보다 그 땡데 송비고네 안네 땡지를 봐 종유 란데 샤자만의 보다 그 땡비 힘비 내년도 제다 공도 주바 먼저데 그 공도 주변 주그레스 개바이나 샤자만의 보다 그 땡데 송비고 땡데 덴바데 샤자만의 보다 그 땡비 힘비 내년도 제가 공도 주바면 공도 주거래스 공도 주바면 주대 공도 주거래스 제가 공도 주면 주로스 what did but that 텐데시바 때문에 좀 때문에 어떠는도와 지된 거바 지녀바 대저 말이데 지된 들으송도 간도송 저술 제가 나시 동안라서 구바 여들보다
Leso.
뒤저도 가르스나 춘노 대바주면 대지들이요.
Leso.
대지 뒤저 말이데 가시 통이 대두비 냐부데 춘노 대바 마르시빌로데스
Leso.
되게 제가 나치 동안에 뒤저 말이벌는 그래서
Leso.
가시 통이 대두바 대지대바 종송 대진도래 종송 대술로다 덴바이 대체 로다 덴바 셔로다 덴바이나 땡지르반 중유랑 샤자만의 보다 송샤비 땡지르반 땡디 송비랑데 샤자만의 보다 그 땡비 내니도 제다 공도 주면 주대 공도 주거래.
So the okay.
올 다치디가도 용어로.
Okay. Selbudu.
야.
Okay. So now we read the next two stanzas, which fall under this category, showing that dependent origination is the essence or the heart of the Buddhist teachings. Whatever degenerations there are in the world, the root of all of these is ignorance. You taught that it is dependent origination, the seeing of which will undo this ignorance. So how can an intelligent person not comprehend that this path of dependent origination is the essential point of your teaching? So whatever degenerations there are in the world, whatever negativities, whatever pains and sufferings one has to endure, suffering of birth, the suffering of aging, the suffering of sickness, the suffering of death, the suffering experienced in any among the 6 realms of cyclic existence, in the lower realms of the hell, hungry ghost, and animal, or the higher realms of the human demigods and gods. So here the degenerations are the sufferings that are experienced within cyclic existence, and it states that when we look to what the root of all of these sufferings is, we will find that it's ignorance. It is the ignorance that grasps at phenomena as being truly established. This is what the root of the various types of suffering, of birth, aging, sickness, and death, and so forth, are from. It's in the same way that we get rid of any type of mistaken view, we can get rid of the mistaken view that grasps at phenomena as being truly established by applying something that harms that misconception, that serves as an opponent to that misconception. If one were to walk into a dark room and think that a rope was a snake, the only thing that would serve to eradicate that thought would be the understanding of it as a rope, and as nothing other than a rope, and as not a snake. Likewise, if one needs to undo what is the root of cyclic existence, it's necessary to apply an opponent. And the opponent to the grasping at phenomena as being truly established is the opposite, the understanding that phenomena are not truly established. Phenomena dependently originate. They are not inherently existent. So by applying this, we are able to undo the degenerations in the world that we have to experience. It says, you taught that it is a dependent origination, the seeing of which will undo this ignorance, which will undo these various sufferings that the ignorance creates. So how can an intelligent person, if one is a scholar, if one claims to be of intelligence and of high wisdom and understanding, how could you not comprehend that the path of dependent origination, the teachings on the pronouncements Lord Buddha gave on dependent origination are not the essence of the Buddha's teaching? How could you not see that? So the point is that any scholar, any educated, wise person would see that the teaching on dependent origination is the heart of the Buddhist teachings, because it is what allows ignorance to be eradicated. It's what causes ignorance to be eradicated. And these are the points that are made. So the point of dependent origination is that it harms ignorance. Digson.
What that no the
So we have two stanzas here, 8
8
sentences.
That the done there is that Jiden Goba Shisu Chisu Jiba Nisun Chisu Jiba Nisun Nidle Chi Ji Nisun de Ti done there is that done Jiden Jaga Nachi Sujis Jiden Dendusun Dangandusun Luari to the Jaga Nachi Suji Junchaso Guba Chenye Yubas, Chiga Nashi Dungalasua, Chenye Yuba, Ti Zawa Tatuba de Ne Maribat Redioris, Chud Maribat Shosana, Chudan Kaza Rajinchi, Trubanzi Videnzi, Mariba Imbajatis, Ti Zawa Marit Seate, Chuji Dancing Maribatan, Kazak Dancing Maribani Yawures, Ti Zawa Tatuba ne. Chudan, Chu Debatu Tenzin, Kaza Debatu Raji Trubanzi Tenzin, Mariba Jade. Tenji Chuni Sama Kajis, Tendi Chuni Sama Kaji, Gonson to Tonga de. To be Mariba de Dobanju Nas. Tendi Tony, Tachuna Devamaruba. Chuna Devamaruba de Samud Kaji, and then Gonson Tonsuna. Gonson Tonga de Netu Tonlang Golam Malula. Sonji Raje Tonlang Golam Malula. Shansen Tonlang Golam Malula. What does the Gonson Tonga Roda? Gonson to Tonga de. To be Mariba de Duba Juya Sondes. Chuna Devamaruba Gonson Tonsuna. And then Denzi Mariba Dundu. Taba Druma Imba Sheson the Dunji Dundu. Tendabures da. To be Mariba de Dubanju Nas. Mariba Dubanju Na. Mariba de Pon Tazos. Chuna de Badum Denzi Mariba Pon Tazo. Jawa Shajaman Bodaki. Tende Sombares. Tenji de Banjuan. Somba was. Tenji de Banjuan Somba was. Taba to Kaleji Juna. In a Wolma, Sinde Wolma Legua.
Okay. So these 8 stanzas that present here, Rinpoche reread it. Whatever degenerations there are in the world, the root of these, all of these, is ignorance. You taught that it is dependent origination, the seeing of which will undo this ignorance. So how can an intelligent person not comprehend that this path of dependent origination is the essential point of the teaching? So Lama Tsongkhapa, I'm sorry, Junu Jetsun Drapa Shidrup goes on to explain in his commentary what this means. So he says, so what is the root of the degeneration in the worlds? What is this ignorance that is being explained here? So what is this ignorance? And it goes on to say that this ignorance that is presented as the root of all of the degenerations of cyclic existence is the grasping at phenomena and person as being truly established. This is the ignorance that we speak of. So it is the direct, valid cognition of dependent origination, which serves as an opponent to the ignorance, which serves as an opponent to the ignorance. When one wants to get rid of the grasping at phenomena or person being truly established, one wants to get rid of this mistaken view. Again, the only thing that will get rid of it is the non-mistaken view that recognizes that person and phenomena are not truly established. This is the only thing that will get rid of the grasping at them as being such. So therefore, just like it's necessary to realize that that rope is a rope and not a snake in that dark room, one has to recognize that the person and the phenomena are not truly established, because normally they are looked at as being truly established. So one needs to make that idea non-mistaken by applying its opponent, by applying its antidote. And in the case of the snake, it's the understanding that it's not a snake. In the case of true establishment, it's the understanding of not true establishment. This is how one is able to get rid of ignorance, because it's the only thing that serves as an opponent to that ignorance. And that ignorance is ignorance of that grasps at phenomena and person as being truly established. There's one more point that's made here. Detskuramche, the chik mangayure. So I know. So when does that ignorance get abandoned? The ignorance gets abandoned at the hearer's path of seeing, path of meditation, and path of no more learning, at the solitary realizer's path of seeing, meditation, and no more learning, and at the bodhisattva's path of seeing, path of meditation, and no more learning. That's where a direct, valid cognition of emptiness or dependent origination happens. So that's when the opponent is being applied to ignorance. That's when ignorance is being abandoned, and how ignorance is being abandoned. Digsun.
Tan you what did Tenji de Banjo so tan de Mariban Serwa. The Maribane, the Mariban, teeth or Maritis, teeth or Marite, Maritiship, Maribat Kaja Ursuna,
Less so.
the Maribane, Natan, Naye, Habaso, Kazatans, Natan, Naye or on to Vanzibi, Kazak dancing down, Kaza Maimi, Chu, Najiji, to Vanzibi, dancing Shilla, and Mariba Jagres,
Less so.
Shilla Jujin. Tenda I Mariba de Nyomu Jena Jitawa des, Chudan Kaza, the Batuban with Yazite, and then the Sha Kundula Subi, and then Nyomu Batanji Tawa the water is, Danzi Mariba de la Tene, and the Sha to Kundu the Naje, Nyomu Kajum Gores, the Tawa de Oman Jubales, Nyomu Juna Malun Jitula, Tali Shuan. Talishwa, Louis Tunju, Dan Di, you to do Shene, Nanju by Dan Gubashis, to Oman by Chigi the Bayure, what the Rendua, Nyamosana, and the Shakundula Suba to Nyamumaribe, Nyamoroa. Nyamobi Chund Shosana, and Dendusun and Duari Dugi, Chaganachi, Dungela Suba, to Sukanga Nyamobi Chund is Nyamobatan. Nyomo bi chun chaga nashi dungala suba malu ba jitu la tawa le shonshins ane nyomo bata nyomo bi chun chaga nashi dungala suba to sukangalo jita le shon yuares jita jita de ngata jita de shosen tamal ja dro ngata ngayo nyaba kaza ga danzi jita ina kaza ga danzi bi chawlo gure jita ina kaza ga danzi bi chaws jita de shosena ngata ngayo rangon ruban zeba do te jita res ngarangon ruban zeba ngayo rangon ruban jita sana pna ngai laba ngai yemba ngai laba deba ruban zeba chuji danzi la
Leso.
laba ngai
Ngai
yemba deba ruban zeba kaza ga danzi la
Leso.
ngayo rangon ngai khamba ngai yemba ngai khar ngai yemba
Leso.
what deba ruban zeba kaza ga danzi so what this one there
Okay, dead score Rinpoche. Chu mambo lapsang.
yeah
Okay. So then, just find where we are again. 3, 4. So so then it says what we've already been through, that the ignorance is abandoned by this teaching on dependent origination is what allows for the abandonment of ignorance to take place, and we've already went over how that takes place. So it says, what is this ignorance then? It says ignorance is the grasping at the inherent existence or true establishment of I and mine, and person as well as phenomenon. So grasping at the true establishment of person and grasping at the true establishment of phenomenon. So, and when we look at person, it's I and mine. So we'll go on to explain what that means in a moment. So, so when we look at what this ignorance is, it's grasping at the true self of persons and phenomenon. So this is what then creates, this ignorance then creates all of the afflictions that occur. So the afflictions of attachment, hatred, and ignorance all arise from this grasping at person, I and mine, and phenomena as being truly established. And this here is the root of the afflictions. So then we find a quote from the Madhyamika Avatara, where it says, whatever degenerations there are, in perceiving that all faults and all afflictions flow from the idea of the transitory composite, and knowing that its focus is the very self, this self is what the yogi will disprove. So the view of the transitory collection is this belief of I and mine as being truly established. So when we speak of how do we differentiate between grasping at true establishment of phenomena and grasping at true establishment of person, we divide it in this way. So if we say I, then this is the grasp, and I'm grasping at it, then this is grasping at the self of person. If I say my hand, then that grasping is grasping at the self of phenomena. But if I say the hand is me, then that's grasping at the self of person still. So I and mine, if I believe that the hand is me, that's the mine that's being spoken of, not mine in an ownership sense, my car, my hand. These all fall categorically under grasping at the true self of phenomena, my car, my hand, my house. But if I say car is me, hand is me, then this is grasping at the true self of person, grasping at mine. So this is what the mine means here. It's, as the translators know, believing this hand is me too. So this hand is Jeff too. It's not something that Jeff has, it's Jeff. So that grasping is grasping at mine. That is the view of the transitory composite that's being spoken of here. So when we grasping at I and mine as being truly established is how we look at what the view of the transitory collection means. And that is referring to I, Jeff, and mine, Jeff, hand is Jeff. So if I believe hand is Jeff, then this falls under that view of transitory collection. So that's what is meant by that. Let me make sure I got all of the commentary. So the quote from the Madhyamika Avatara, so all faults and all afflictions, so all negativities, all the sufferings of the 6 realms of cyclic existence and the lower realms and the higher realms, all of the afflictions come from the grasping at this I and mine, the idea of the transitory composite. So knowing that its focus is the very self. So knowing that the view of the transitory composite's focus is this self being truly established, the yogi gets rid of that notion of self. So it says the self is what the yogi will, this self is what the yogi will disprove. This self that the view of the transitory composite looks at, this self that is truly established, is what the yogi negates. Because it creates all faults and all afflictions. And going back to the text, ignorance is the root of everything. So when the root of all these is ignorance. So it goes back to that. You taught that it is dependent origination, the seeing which will undo ignorance. So the ngay tsampa ngay kanga. It is I and mine, intelligent, essential point of the path. The Digsung Rinpoche.
What the woman
Namgyal le Lama so.
Nanden le temu nyebi tsawa des. Nanden le temu nyebi tsawa. Temu de ne takuna ni la mo mariba de. Nyebi tsawa chega na chi dungela so na ji tsawa res. Nanden le son sha nanden mariba.
Nyepa sena?
Temu nyebi tsawa temu nyeba. Temu takuna ni la mo mariba temu ro.
Lessa.
Nyeba sana ne Dundu song dang ngandu song chega na chi dungela suba to se nyeba marba nyeba.
Okay.
Nyomo bi nyeba res. Nyomo bi chun res. Nyomo bi nyeba. Nyomo bi chun. What is jiba injiro. Temo nyebi tsawa des. Nanden le wa te khona ni la mo mariba de. Ne nyeba chega na chi dungela suba. Nyomo bi nyeba. Nyomo bi chun ji tsawa song do sre. Nyebi tsawa des. Tā nāndē tī sēnzāng bī zhōng yīn lā gārē, sēnzāng bā. Shirā māwa dōdī bā sēnzāng bā, ōmā bā, dōtā māwa yī nā nē, tsama nāndē tī sēnzāng bī zhōng yīn sōng gārē. Sēnzāng bī zhōng yīn sōng zāng, tēmū nye bī tsāwa sēyā tē, kānsā rāngchā tū bī zhōyā tū bī zhīmī zhīmā tē, kūyī tsāwa yīn lā gārē. Kūyī tsāwa rēs, 추지 단지 시리 돈도 주반되면 제바데 kuitsawa yin laga maare. Senzangbi chuji danzi shiri yin, kaza rangcha tubi zaya turuban nyodi ri laga nyodi.
Okay.
Wate senzangbi wate chaba duwa.
Okay. Dila tukudu.
Teme nyatu dajung dan raja dajung tsuke kui jitza tatuba malu jang kuwa le chuwa mangi los. Nyatu dajung dan raja dajung tsuke kui jitza tatuba pongyo mares. Kansa rangcha tubi zaya tubi zemi zeba tang nyomu pongyo mares. Kui jitza tatuba de chuji danzi pongyo mares. Wate songre. Kui jitza tatuba maluba kuwa le chuwa mangi los leshe nyibu godile yore ngosho. Godile wate songyo yore.
Okay. So we find a quote from the Dharmakirti's Pramanavartika Karika, where it says the root of, it says delusion, or ignorance, or mutable ignorance, delusion is the root of faults, the root of our faults. So we have to realize that Dharmakirti was a holder of the mind-only school view. So when we divide the tenet systems into 4 categories, they are the Great Exposition School, which is Vaibhashika, the Sutra school, which is Sautrantika, the Chittamantran school, which is mind. Let me try that again. I don't know what I just said. The Great Exposition School, which is Vibhashika, the Sutra School, which is Sautrantika, the Mind-Only School, which is Chittamantra, and the Middle Way School, which is Madhyamaka. So Dharmakirti was not a holder of the Madhyamaka view. He was a holder of the Chittamantran view. So in this case, the Chittamantran school wouldn't say that this root is referring to the grasping at phenomena and self. They would merely say it is grasping at the self of persons, which is the root of the root of all of these degenerations and so forth in the world, because they believe that the grasping at phenomena as being truly established is an obstruction to omniscience, and that the hearers and the solitary realizers solely understand the selflessness of person, and haven't expanded their view beyond that and are liberated from cyclic existence and their afflictions. So this is the reason that they state that the root of cyclic existence in the mind-only school is the grasping at the persons as being truly established, not the expanded view of phenomena, because that would fall outside the scope of the Chittamantran or mind-only school view.